So good day, folks. This is our last corner lot that I'm gonna cut. I saved the best for last, I guess you call it, or the worst, depending on which way you want to look at it. This is a real brushy area. A lot of buckbrush growing in here. Back in the 60s, my uncle had a Chalmers bulldozer. He did a lot of clearing on the farm, built some terraces, and this is one of the areas that he had worked in. This area here on the left-hand side is pretty grown up. It's been growing up over the years, but it was originally where my uncle had pushed all the shrubs and trees and everything into the draw here, and it's all either been burned or rotted away over the years. You can see in here there's a lot of big trees. Most of them are walnuts. There's still a lot of oaks that were left standing. They did do some forestry in there at one time, cut all the really big trees out, but some of those have grown back now. As you can see, it's still pretty brushy right in this area. Occasionally when you look down through there out into the wooded area, you'll see some deer, family of deer, and as you see, there's limbs hanging down. The tractor here is the one that can get underneath of them. It's a short tractor, D15 Chalmers. It's a 4-cylinder gas, about 42 horsepower. Make our way along the edges. I do this every year. At some point, I'd like to come through here with a sprayer and spray a lot of this brush. I've worked on other areas of the farm, mowing, and eventually sprayed the brush and at least dampened it down. There's still a little bit of brush that comes up, but it's not nearly like it is now in this spot. Up here we'll make this turn and head back the other direction. You can see there's some pretty thick brush in there. That's all buckbrush. This is the back side of the pond. Really need to get in there with the track loader and clean all that out. And there is the area that used to be mowed for hay, and you can see it's got a pretty good stand of grass in here. That's why I run the cattle in here 2-3 times a year, just to delays them, move them into some of the paddocks that they normally graze in, giving those paddocks a chance to grow a little more. And then too, they can help suppress any growth that's going on and fertilize it with their manure and their urine. There you can see the edge of the hayfield that we used to have. There's some brush over there. At one time there used to be a ton of blackberry bushes growing in there. Now this is the edge of the paddock, grazing paddock. You can see there on the left-hand side where the cattle go through on a regular basis. I've already clipped that, so it's a little shorter than it is on this side. This is the downhill slope of that little field corner lot. I call it the northwest corner grazing lot because that's really all I do is just graze the cattle through here on occasion. As we get down here a little further on this hillside, it becomes pretty wet. There's a lot of water coming out of the hillside. Got a lot of limestone in these hills, and surface waters drain out on the hillsides. This is one of the trees that I pushed out, I think 3 years ago. It was in the fence line. One time it had died, and I got in there and pushed it over, and then pushed it out of the way. This is real wet right in here. We're going to head down here to the corner of property. There's a fence line on the left-hand side, and you can see just how growed up this is. And this is years worth of growth. So if you left it go for 2-3 years, you'd have small trees growing in here. This is a walnut tree on the right, and then there's a locust tree. It's a big dude. I usually push them out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to push that one. It's in a location I can't get any leverage on it. That's a dead walnut there. And this little spot right up here ahead, it's very wet. It's wet in August. There's got to be a spring or something up there that seeps down that ravine and keeps this area wet. Right up here ahead is the corner of our farm. There's a tree laid down, came off the fence line a few years back. I never did do anything with it. And once in a while, when I got the tractor and loader down in here, I break up the limbs and kind of push it together. Just kind of letting it rot there. Eventually I need to push it out of the way. It'll be part of the project where I go in and clean this fence line out. I got to get it ready to start replacing all this fence. It was put back in the 60s, and wire is starting to become brittle and posts are rotting off. I've drove some steel posts. This tree, I'm a little disappointed. It died on us over the winter, and I was actually going to build a tree stand between these two trees, but I'm not going to do that now. I guess some bugs got in there and killed it. I've noticed we've got a lot of big trees that are starting to grow or die. This area here is the top of the hill to the east of that wooded lot, and I've been in here mowing, clipping the seed heads off. You can see how dense it is down through there. Got that pretty well mowed down over there. There's the cattle. I moved them into that paddock this morning, and they're grazing. Got just a couple more passes here. Again, you can see how low these limbs are. The tractor muffler just barely gets under some of them. Someday, maybe I'll come up with the pole saw and trim them up higher so I can drive this with the cab tractor. But for right now, we'll just go with the D15. This is a pond that we used to hunt frogs in years ago. Now it's pretty well silted in. There's cattle can stand in the middle of it and just get their bellies wet. That's my daughter's favorite trick.